I have a dirty, dirty secret. Every year, day in and day out, I play the same games again and again and again. I have played Kingdom Hearts 1, Final Fantasy 7, and Ocarina of Time upwards of 10 to 15 times each. Occasionally, there's a game which will captivate me and make me play through it to the end, but most of the time, this is not the case. Most of the time, I play a game for 6 to 7 hours before I inevitably go back to play a game that I know. This means that I have many games to experience, and yet no motivation to do so. This year, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, which was my Game of the Year pick and my most anticipated game of all time. In order to prepare for this game, I played through Disc 1 of Final Fantasy VII OG, Crisis Core, Dirge's Cerberus, watched Advent Children, and savored every moment of Final Fantasy VII Remake once more.
You coming?
While I adored the experience of experiencing these games again, I felt almost fatigued by the time I was done playing through the compilation once more.
Let's get to work.
That being said, when February 29th rolled around and I got to play Rebirth, I found a wonder that I had been missing playing video games again and again and again. It was so new, so amazing, so novel. It was then that I decided to dub 2024 the year of new games. This year, I would go through my backlog, both on and off stream, and complete all the games that I've been putting off playing. It was under this pretense of searching for new games that my brother thought he would offer up a contender for me to complete. He told me that I should play Arkham City. I kind of listened, opting instead to begin with Arkham Asylum. I decided that I would play through the entirety of Rocksteady's Arkham trilogy. I tried to play Arkham Asylum in the past, but got no further than the initial penitentiary visit. Arkham Asylum was released in 2009 for the PS3, the version I tried to play. In 2016, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City were ported to the PS4 in a bundle called the Return to Arkham Collection. Therefore, on the evening of March 25th, we went into the PSN and bought the Arkham games for about $25 Canadian. An amazing deal given the value I would get out of these games. We downloaded Asylum and began to play. Instantly, Asylum was far more engaging to my little brain than it had been a decade earlier. The opening sequence is so bloody good at building context and intrigue, and Mark Hamill's Joker is absolutely brilliant at setting the ambiance, seconded only by the iconic Asylum jingle that plays every so often. Despite catching my attention so quickly, this initial playthrough of Arkham Asylum would be slow and painful. The gameplay felt so different than many of the RPGs I had played. I'd often get stuck, get lost, or lose interest. Two large contributors to my difficulties were, 1, my feeling like I was constantly missing something, and 2, a severe issue maintaining my combo in combat. This slow and plodding playthrough of Asylum would continue for nearly 2 months, off and on. But finally, I pushed through, and my brother and I would beat Arkham Asylum. Yet, in that time, my meager thug-sized love for this game had grown to titanic proportions. As the credits rolled, I knew that I was not satisfied. Nay, my hunger for completion had not been satiated. It was thereupon beating the game, sitting alone in my living room after my brother had gone to sleep, that I decided to boot back up my file and stay up all night getting every single Riddler trophy in the game. Finally, after my long game of cat and mouse, I turned my attention to the challenge mode maps, periodically unlocked throughout my playthrough by solving Riddler content. It was in these combat maps that my skills would be pushed to their limits. And yet, it was also here that I would go from being a scared little boy to a man worthy of bearing the cape and cowl. I would transform. Intensive treatment was incredibly difficult, but it taught me an invaluable lesson. Batman rewards strategic play, but severely punishes any form of button mashing. My many days of playing Kingdom Hearts 2 and Final Fantasy XIV had trained me to constantly be tapping one of two buttons, be it X, triangle, or square. And that was a habit I would need to overcome if I wanted to become a perfect knight, balanced in body and in mind. I never did finish the challenge maps in my first playthrough, but by challenging them, they had utterly transformed the way that I approached the game's combat. Not only had my combat skills increased, but so too had my foreknowledge of the game's structure, which allowed me to go into the game a second time, playing it as it was intended. I always struggle pushing through the act of learning a game, but I must say that Arkham Asylum brilliantly caught my attention and held it, especially after beating the game once through. It was only after collecting all of the Riddler trophies and beginning to understand the combat that I decided to stream through the Arkham games on my second channel in order to record my journey to platinum this game, as well as to help me document my experience while getting every trophy in Arkham Asylum. The game begins with Batman escorting Joker to Arkham Asylum after a recent breakout had occurred. Joker murmurs in the back of the Batmobile before arriving and being strapped to a gurney. Though all seems at ease on the surface, it quickly becomes clear that Joker has far more up his sleeve than some simple party tricks. We see flashes of Harley Quinn sitting at a security desk, watching us bring Joker back, exactly as planned. After a series of concerted efforts by Joker, the tables are turned, and Batman is now the prisoner in Joker's sick ploy. Yet, not only are Joker and Harley in on this sick plot, but it seems that all of Joker's henchmen have been brought to Arkham Island because of a mysterious fire. Suddenly, we're trapped in a room, restricted by electric security gates controlled by Harley, and surrounded by 3 thugs. The scenes melt away to Batman in all his fighting glory. Because of my experience garnered from my first playthrough, I was so used to fighting with a full kit that I made some blunders in my first fight. Yet, in the second round, I succeeded in performing a combo of 5, earning me the first trophy for Free Flow Combo 5. Harley and Joker disappear after the fight, but unlock one of the electric security gates. In this room is a grate that we can pull off the wall and enter in order to find our first Riddler trophy of the game. Continuing on the main path, we're introduced to a young lady named Oracle, who had previously been Batwoman, but was since paralyzed from the waist down. This was such a cool thing when I realized this. I had no idea that Oracle was originally Batwoman, and it felt enlightening to learn about the Batman world. Oracle will occasionally be chiming in throughout the story to help our caped crusader. We continue on after our conversation, and we meet Zach Franklin. He tells us that the violent inmate Dr. Zaz has escaped and is holding one of the guards, a man named Mike, hostage. We use the gargoyles on the upper floor to sneak up behind Zaz and take him down, earning our second trophy, Shocking Rescue. Despite having rescued Mike, we had another predicament. Harley thinks that she can trap us in the room with Zaz, but we simply pull off a grate and follow Joker's painted path back to the clown himself. Here, we're introduced to Titans, a major enemy type in this game, which we will see quite a few times throughout this platinum journey. After an easy fight, our enemy dies? And we earn our third trophy. After the fight, we learn of a dirty cop named Frank Bowles who sided with Joker. We find the scent of his alcohol by scanning his flask and create a trail in order to find him. After tracking him, we return to the room that we brought Joker through previously in the intro to the game. We see that Frank has ascended in an elevator. We chase him as Harley appears and destroys the elevator, ensuring an annoying climb up later in the game. At the top of the elevator, we find the first of 24 stones called the Amadeus Chronicles. These are incredibly cool. They tell the story of Amadeus Arkham, the builder of the asylum, and proposes some interesting philosophical questions along the way. Having escaped the elevator, we see some armed thugs waiting to ambush us and destroy 3 more guards in a large stealth section. Oh, buddy. Which, armed with our batarang, is incredibly easy. After dealing with 2 rounds of thugs, we explore the room and find our first patient interview. These tapes, hidden by Riddler around the asylum, record 5 sessions held between the villains of Arkham and their respective doctors. And they are quite possibly my favorite part of this whole game. It was by this point in my second playthrough with my brother that Arkham Asylum had me. Hook, line, and sinker.
And king of fishing!
After meeting up with a guard who opens up a new path, we're free to leave the intensive care building. We emerge on a cliff overlooking Arkham East. As we look out at the beautiful emerald building ahead, we get the 4th trophy.
Love the choir here. Listen how dramatic that is.
Ooh, born free. Escape from intensive treatment to the island's surface.
A few moments later.
Batman rendezvous with the Batmobile and claims our first upgrade, which allows us to sneak into a guard tower and obtain the Arkham East Secrets map.
I didn't get this until like very, very late in the game, but what this does is every single one of those floating mystery marks one of the Riddler trophies.
After this, we pick up a trail off of Gordon's tobacco pipe, which leads us back to Arkham West. When we emerge from that door, we turn and grapple up to the top of the arch, grabbing ourselves a Riddler trophy and getting our 5th trophy, Arkham Analyst, for solving 5% of all Riddler trophies on Arkham Island. The trail leads us to a series of thugs gathered outside the medical facility in Arkham West. As we take them down, we pop the Free Flow 10 trophy. After this, we climb to the roof and find an explosive wall which we use to enter the medical facility. Inside, there is another stealth section, which I stylishly conquered before making my way to the first of 3 doctors that I need to save. The issue is that the room the doctors are in is filled with toxic gas. We progress throughout the room, shutting off fans as we go and clearing out the gas. And eventually, all the gas is cleared out of the room, and we rescue our first doctor. Down the hall, we find Dr. Chen, who we rescue from the thugs, earning us Free Flow Combo 20. After this, we rescue Dr. Penny Young. We learn that Dr. Young had been working with Joker inadvertently under the name Jack White. After this, we receive a trophy for rescuing all 3 doctors in the medical facility. Just as we're talking to the rescued doctors, several thugs come out of an elevator. After another stealth section where I prove my skills, we're told that Aaron Cash and Dr. Young are going to Arkham Manor in order to retrieve Dr. Young's files concerning her research on the Titan compound before Joker's able to get his hands on it. We, on the other hand, are left to clean up one more stealth section with great finesse before descending to the morgue. Inside the morgue, we find 3 body bags on a table in the middle. The first 2 are filled with Bruce Wayne's parents. When we finally turn to the 3rd bag, we learn that Scarecrow is hiding inside of it, ready to inject us with more of his fear gas. A relatively 2D side-scroller commences, where we have to sneak past a giant version of Scarecrow. When we finally beat Scarecrow, and remember that we're the Bat, we earn our 8th trophy, Daydreamer. Gang's the term that Fred uses. Daydreamer. Further on in the medical facility, we find a bear missing one ear, which I'm sure isn't a good sign. In the next room, we find Commissioner Gordon being held by Harley and patrolled by armed guards. While we were taking out henchmen, I came across a Riddler trophy, earning me my 9th trophy for uncovering 10% of Riddler's puzzles. We drop in on Commissioner Gordon, ensuring that we have a soft landing. Commissioner Gordon and Batman enter into a large greenhouse-looking building in the basement. Inside, we find Bane tied up to restraints. Unfortunately, Joker thinks we need some excitement and pumps Bane full of Titan. Definitely Titan material. We proceed to fight Bane, who functions extraordinarily similar to a regular Titan enemy, while also mowing down Joker's henchmen who have gathered around us. After defeating Bane, we get our well-earned 10th trophy and return to the surface of Arkham with a new trail to pursue. Back on the surface, we're tasked with going to the Batcave to analyze Dr. Young's research. The path to the Batcave lies on a path beside intensive care. Before I continue with the story, I let my curiosity guide me and came across a second entrance to the penitentiary. Curious, I decided to go into the entrance closest to Arkham North. What I was met with was astounding. When we enter the visitor center, our camera is locked in first person. In the distance, we see a twisted version of Joker sitting with his head inside of a TV. Joker invites us to sit down and take off the mask. Damn clown hasn't taken me out to dinner yet, and he already wants me to strip down. I swear, men these days.
You were to let me see your underwear.
You want to see my...
Master!
Anyways, we head to Arkham North and head beside the intensive care building, and after finding Dead Man's Point, we follow the linear path until we find our way home away from home. Inside the Batcave, we analyze the data and claim a dear old friend. From the Batcave, it's a straight shot to the sewer system. Oracle and Batman discuss everything they know to try to make some deductions about what Joker is planning, which really makes Batman feel like an LA Noire-style detective, a vibe that I loved from this game. Batman should always be like a badass Phoenix Wright. Back when I played this game in March, I remember that the sewer was an area I was stuck in for an hour. However, this time I absolutely smashed my way through it in about a minute. We fight our way through Arkham North, killing 2 snipers as we go, and we do the same in Arkham East. It can be a little tricky sneaking up on the snipers who are on the roof of the medical facility, so perhaps approach widely, coming from the side rather than the front. After you knock out the 2 snipers, you can use your Batclaw to remove a grate and enter into Arkham Mansion, earning us our 11th trophy for breaking into Arkham Mansion and beginning the next major section of this game. It was at this point in my first stream that I felt like introducing some variation to my Platinum experience, and began trying to take out the maps as they unlocked. I did this mainly so that I wouldn't be stuck with nothing but challenge maps at the end of the game. A wise decision in hindsight. I began the first challenge of the game, a map called Intensive Treatment, based off of the area of the first fight of the game. During this, I struggled to maintain a large combo, and therefore finished the map with about 15,000 points. But after some clean play and a whole lot of practice, I managed to get 18,000 points without much of a struggle, A large part of mastering these combat trials was simply getting to know how to use my gadgets, when to use my gadgets, and how to time ground takedowns with large combos. For example, just one ground takedown with a score of 20 will earn the player 2,000 points in one move. The next one will give you 2,100 points. This means that with the triple boomerang, you can garner an extreme amount of points very quickly, but the timing can be difficult. Continuing on, I cracked out my first Predator map called Silent Night with little to no effort, and moved on to complete the combat trial Sewer Bat. My goodness, this challenge was legitimately challenging. I failed to reach the point threshold for 3 combat medals like 15 times in a row. Still, all that practice from my previous playthrough, as well as my time in intensive care, did me good. And it was not long before I added 3 more challenge medals to my stash, bringing me ever closer to those 48 medals required for my platinum experience.
Without a bonus, we got 18,000, buddy.
I finished all of the maps that I was able to do at the moment, and therefore loaded up my save file and continued to push through the Wayne Mansion. There are 3 thugs in the entrance hall, which I make short work of before heading towards the main hall to fight like 10 more thugs. After this, I head to the library where there are even more thugs for Batman to fight. I swear at this point in the game, it felt less like a puzzle and more like a combat sim. After the thugs have been subdued, we look for a way to rescue the hostage thugs locked up in the floor below. We can see them through the grates, but there's no way to access them. Therefore, instead of going down, we find a way up, finding a vent that we can crawl through, leading us into the roof, where the chandelier was hanging. Thinking fast, we decide to cut down that monster and let the chandelier smash through the floor. Just call me the Phantom of Arkham. Having rescued the guards, we go back to the main hall, but find that the west door is sealed with electrical security gates, meaning we'll need to find another way in. We end up navigating to a room in the west wing, called the Records Room, which is filled with patrolling guards and 2 tied-up men. You know what that means. It's time to activate Solid Snake Mode.
What?
After rescuing Aaron Cash and defeating the thugs, we're tasked with finally breaking into Dr. Young's office. We navigate through some vents and wind up on the other side of the locked door, much to the chagrin of Joker's henchmen. Unfortunately, we get toaded, and instead of finding Dr. Young's research, we're told that her research is in another castle, and we're sent on another forensic trail quest, leading us right back to the library where we find her research hidden amongst the rest of the books. Something's wrong when we leave, however, as Bruce begins to hallucinate that the mansion is raining. Slowly, the mansion transforms into a dark alleyway, filled with trash and filled with puddles. We continue down the hallway with an eerie sense of dread. At the end of the alleyway, we see a reenactment of the Wayne's death, done in a fractured way. As Wayne walks away, he's no longer Batman, but the young Bruce Wayne who has just witnessed his mother's and father's deaths. He rises in the bat signal, a sign that Bruce, though being brought back to the traumatic day, is not the helpless boy he once was, but is now the Bat who can stand up to his fear without flinching, however painful it may be. This visual language of the bat symbol representing Batman overcoming his deepest fears is taught to us in the first Scarecrow fight, and will be reaffirmed in this visual storytelling in this counter and in the third encounter with Scarecrow. Even after streaming this game for over 4 hours and being exhausted near the end of my first day, This scene still hits so hard. It's really a beautiful scene. After this scene, we're introduced to a second side-scrolling scarecrow encounter that functions very much like the previous one. We sneak past him and turn on the bat signal, symbolizing that we have overcome Scarecrow's fear gas completely. After getting our trophy, we shake ourselves off, cut down a bell to smash some electric gates, and head towards the warden's office. Inside his office, we find Dr. Young being held captive by Zaz. Yet, a well-timed batarang saves our doctor and traumatizes the villain at the same time. Afterwards, we triumphantly save Dr. Young once more. Hopefully, this time for good. She shows us the location of her safe. She opens it and... Did she just die? Dr. Young doesn't make it. Before we can process seeing Amanda's death, we're ambushed by Harley and her guys, and are forced to fight for our lives. It was here that we find that 3 armed guards in this location are stationed with guns, requiring some quick thinking. Yet, with the aid of my batarang, I was able to make short work of all 3 of them. After exiting the mansion, I noticed that the trail led me to Arkham West, but was deeply tired after a long day of playing. I'd managed to beat 3 major sections of the game out of 6 major sections of the game, and had managed to get approximately 25% of the trophies. I reveled in my first day of successful streaming. I shut off my PS5 and headed to bed. On June 5th, I loaded up my PS5 and donned the mask once more. In the previous session, I had picked up Warden Sharp's DNA trail and continued from Arkham East to the lower entrance leading towards the west. Joker's thugs had taken over the abandoned tunnel, but we make quick work of them and continue towards the penitentiary. So he'll come down, get him over. Kaboom! Continuing through the prison, we find Poison Ivy, which is truly a highlight to this chapter. We find Sharp tied up in the security room and witness Harley releasing Ivy from her cage. After that unfortunate predicament, however, we earn the best bloody gadget in the game, the cryptographic sequencer. Oh, we can hack now, bro. Harley electrocutes the floor and summons hordes of her henchmen to take us out. Unfazed by this, however, we crush some bad guys. After following her trail, we come to a room with 2 captured and tied up guards being held above a pool of electrified water. We quickly hack Harley's devices, cut the men down, and get out of the room before Harley is able to fill it with Joker toxin. Whew! We're killing it in the story aspect, but it feels like it's been forever since we earned the last trophy, and I was hoping that we could end our dry spell soon. Continuing through the penitentiary brings us to extreme incarceration and a cutscene. The cutscene is quick, but solving the riddle contained inside this hall earns us our 15th trophy, Lateral Thinker, for solving 25% of the Riddler trophies in total. Harley sends some more guards before we capture Harley finally, and put her in a cell where she can't hurt us or anybody else. And for overcoming her fully, we get another trophy. Man, we went from drought to drink in this trophy department, it seems. We finish up our business in the prison and move on to the domain of Ivy, the Botanical Gardens, situated between Wayne Manor and Arkham East. And in classic Batman style, we knock them out in stealthy, brutal fashion. Inside the Botanical Garden, we begin to look around. In one of the rooms, we find Carl Todd being held captive by Joker's vicious gang, causing us to intervene, save him, and disarm the Joker panel nearby. Finishing up in the eastern wing, we return to the hub room and head north, only to be stopped by more electric water. In order to cross the water, we will need to cut off the power supply to it. As we continue to search for the way to cut out the power, we head towards the aviary, and in the aviary, we find 2 more Arkham staff being held captive. The room is filled with thugs, all wearing collars. If any one of the guards die, then the operator is going to be alerted, and he will kill all of the hostages. Therefore, we need to sneak up onto the top shelf, kill the operator, then kill the guards, and move on to find Joker's secret hidden Titan lab. On the upper levels of the aviary, there is a Joker panel, which will open a door just to the left of it. I saw this, didn't process it, and proceeded to walk around for 5 minutes looking for this bloody lab. Eventually, I got on track and entered the lab. Inside, Joker has set a trap for us, and he doses 2 of his henchmen with the Titan compound, meaning that we don't just have to fight 1 Titan, but 2. As it turns out, there's a trophy in this game for defeating a Titan without a battering. This begs the question, how would you even stun one to begin damaging them? The answer to this is that you need to do the trophy in a battle that has 2 Titans present. There are 2 potential battles that you can do this. You can do it in the Joker Titan lab, or you can do it in the Rumble in the Jungle challenge map. On my second playthrough of Arkham, I found the latter to be far easier to claim this trophy in, and so I would recommend going to Rumble in the Jungle instead of trying to get mano a mano during this section here. Yet, when I got this trophy the first time, I didn't know about the other way. Seeing an opportunity for a trophy, I decided to sit down, have a chat with my supportive friends on stream, and began the grind. After 45 minutes of grueling fights, I overcame 1 Titan with only my fists, earning myself the trophy mano a mano. Shout out to my friend Josh, who encouraged me on stream and watched the same fight on repeat for 30 to 60 minutes. After defeating the 2 Titans, we also unlocked the trophy, Double Trouble. Having learned a little bit more about the situation with the Titans, we realize that we will need Ivy's help to make an antidote to Joker's serum. Before we leave the room, however, Batman begins typing on his arm. Before long, a jet comes crashing through the window to bring me a brand new gadget, the line launcher. Back in the area with the large pit, we utilize the line launcher to go after Ivy. When we enter the door at the end of the hall, we come face to face with her, and she tells us that there are spores which can be utilized to create an antidote.
There's a plant growing deep in Arkham Island. Only it can counter the effects of this Titan strain.
The only catch is that they're down in Croc's lair under intensive care. Well, that's not great news, but when have we backed down from a challenge? 3 obstacles await us on our way out of the gardens. The flooded corridor has been flooded, the entrance hall is populated by 5 more guards, and Ivy's tentacle plant things blocking our way. Luckily, we can duck under a grate and escape out the front door of the gardens and make our way to the mansion to speak with Aaron Cash before turning our attention to Croc's lair beneath intensive care. Back outside, we see that everything has changed in Arkham Asylum. Ivy's plants have taken over and awful spore-spawning flowers have appeared all over the island. We carefully go to the mansion and find that Ivy's poison has filled the entrance and main hall, meaning we have to maneuver up in the rafters using our line launcher. When we finally talk to Aaron Cash, he informs us that we can get into Croc's lair through the elevator in intensive care instead of the sealed doors in the sewers. Intensive care has been absolutely swarmed with soldiers, and as a result, there's a large stealth section that takes place there. Despite my best efforts, I was repeatedly dying, and dying, and dying, and dying. Stealth is really not my forte. The night was growing old, and the morning was coming early. Satisfied that I got through a fairly large portion of the game, I bid goodnight and shut off my console once more. At the outset of day 3, I began the stealth section once more, this time with a renewed vigor, conquering it in a mere 15 minutes. After finding a Joker panel, we unlock the doors to proceed further into the building. As we go, something weird happens. Our screen starts to glitch out. Oh, that tweaked me out. Suddenly, we're seeing the intro of Arkham played out as if we were Joker being admitted to Arkham. Suddenly, we're seeing the intro of Arkham played out as if we were Joker admitting Batman to Arkham Asylum. It's truly a bizarre scene and an interesting insight into Bruce Wayne's deepest fears and insecurities. Scarecrow, of course, is back to his regular antics and has set up a third course for us to complete. We run his course with no problem, but are denied a reprieve. As we beat him, Scarecrow injects us with a second dose, and we're forced to fight off against 3 rounds of his skeletons. After going head to head with Crane's abominations, and overpowering even an overdose of Crane's fear gas, we beat Crane at his own game, earning us the trophy for beating him. Crane escapes, however, and descends into a pit which is locked behind him. In the elevator room, we find a panel that opens the path deeper into the elevator shaft. Below. After fighting some thugs, of course. Stay down. Dropping down, we find the exit to the sewers and proceed into Croc's lair. Scarecrow, not ready to let bygones be bygones, threatens to poison Gotham with his toxin if we proceed even one step further. This is truly a conundrum. How can we defeat Crane? Oh, thanks, Croc, my boy. That was helpful, though I must give an ode to Scarecrow, my favorite Batman villain. Down in Croc's lair, we pick up the trace of 5 spores that we're able to collect. These spores are accessed by wooden planks floating on the surface. If you run on the planks, you'll be heard by Croc and attacked. Not only that, but Croc will occasionally pop up and needs to be subdued with a batarang to the face. This process is not difficult. It's simply slow and tense. We carefully collect our samples and pacify the Croc when the need calls for it. And before we know it, we're less than 100 meters to the exit, goodies in tow. Yet, Croc will not go down without a fight. He starts destroying planks, causing us to do an Indiana Jones-style run for our lives. Right as we're about to exit the gate falls, trapping us with an angry crocodile coming at us rapidly. With some quick thinking on Batman's part, we switch to the explosive gel and set off the gel on the panel which Batman sprayed when we entered, sending Croc tumbling down into a pit and earning us the trophy, Crocodile Tears. After this, we head back to the Batcave with our samples. As we're creating the antidote, Ivy's plants crash the party uninvited. How rude. Trapped once more in our Batcave, Batman creates a solution in the form of the Ultra Batclaw. Oh, is that what I think it is? Yes, it is. We love the Ultra Batclaw here. Here, that is amazing. I'll say this for the 3rd time. This is my favorite gadget. No joke, though. Every single gadget is amazing and makes Batman feel like Batman. After yanking down a wall and making a leap of faith, we arrive at a cave. Proceeding through it is quite linear, and it has 3 ledges to grapple in order to climb up. It's a cool area, which allows us to gain some height to glide back to the sewer junction, which has the access to Arkham North. When we enter the sewers, we find that the sewer is not simply flowing with water, but is instead flooded with Joker toxin. As vital as our plans are, we need to stop these toxins from going out to the main water supply, leading us to find and shut down 3 different pumps in this area. First, we have to find pump control, a room that's inaccessible without the line launcher. In the control room, there's a stealth section that needs to be completed prior to shutting down the pump. As hard as this stealth section was, I would not have overcome it alone. No. My partner in crime decided to come and hang out with me in stream. In fact, Lucius' help was so effective that I earned a trophy. During the stealth section, I strung a guard up with an inverted takedown, and then cut him down, causing him to fall and scare one of the other thugs. For doing this, I was rewarded with a good laugh and the trophy Rope-a-Dope-Dope. After activating the 3 pumps and stopping the flow of the Titan compound, Joker intervenes, blessing us with another thug fight, this time with a Titan to contend with. During this fight, we mounted the Titan and began to beat up all the smaller thugs surrounding us. If you're able to hit 15 thugs with the Titan, you will earn the trophy Freak Show Rodeo.
Oh, nice.
Not only was I able to defeat the Titan and earn Freak Show Rodeo, but I was also able to get a combo of 40.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. One more. Yes! Yes! Oh, man, we did it.
When we finally clear out the pump control room, we enter an elevator and find a clear corridor to proceed up. There's smashable walls that we can bring down to help us gain footing as we climb up this elevator shaft. At the very top, we find the elevator blocking our access to the surface. Turning to the left allows us to locate the counterweight for the elevator. Of course, we smash it, leaving a destroyed elevator. Back out on the island, I decided to do some exploring in the guardhouses. After finding a Joker interview tape, I unlocked this trophy. Back at the Botanical Gardens, it's time to track Ivy down and stop her rampage. Mainly because her plants suck more than henchmen, and annoying Batman is a crime punishable by death.
Burn the witch!
When we meet up with Ivy, she summons an Eldritch Beast to carry her and fight us. The Ivy fight consists of 2 phases, with 2 attack patterns in each phase. In Ivy's first stage, she will be lowered to the ground, causing thorns to grow and trap the player if they're caught in certain sections of the map. After this, Ivy rises into the air, shoots red spores at you, but occasionally opens her shell, allowing Ivy to be hit with a batarang. This is the exact same in the second phase. However, Ivy will now summon guards who are under her control to fight us. In total, we need to kill henchmen 4 different times before we're able to bring Ivy down for good with an explosive gel. For beating this 2-staged boss, we get the trophy Poisoned Ivy. Back on the surface, it's clear that something is wrong. Loud music is playing, and the sounds of fireworks can be heard above. Joker has prepared the opera, and it's time for us to be seated. Knowing that this meant that we were at the end of the game, I took a breath, bid everyone good night, and went to sleep, ending my 3rd stream with 48% of the trophies obtained. In between the 3rd and 4th day of streaming, I had an itch to return to the Cape and Cowl, but didn't have time nor the space to do a stream. What I decided to do was to restart Arkham Asylum on a second file. I did this in order to play through the game on hard mode and start knocking out some of the alternative trophies for playing through on a hard mode difficulty playthrough. What I decided to do was to restart Arkham Asylum on a second file. I began my playthrough on hard in order to get the difficulty related trophy, Biggest Bang, for completing Arkham Asylum on the hard difficulty. Near the beginning of the game, it turns out that I missed a trophy during one of the main story sections of the game. In intensive care, there's this room which is filled with gas. If you save 2 guards and 1 clumsy thug who are hanging on for dear life in this room, then you will unlock the trophy Leave No Man Behind. All things considered, though, hard was not nearly as difficult as I expected. I only had troubles on perhaps 3 or 4 battles in the entire game, and even those did not keep me hung up for long. After playing around with them and getting knocked down many times, I eventually got my free flow going and laid into the villains, earning me a ticket to the next grueling encounter, Poison Ivy on hard mode. Ivy's not so difficult. The real difficulty is playing a game of attrition with her guards. Eventually, I did push through and claimed victory over Ivy, bringing our hard mode playthrough to the same place where we are in the main game. Even though I did complete hard mode entirely, I won't be counting that trophy quite yet. So, for our 4th stream, I decided that it might be a good idea to start doing some challenges. I had feared this moment from the time that I began this platinum. I knew that I could beat the game. I knew that I could play hide and seek with Riddler, and I knew that I could overcome the challenges of hard mode. None of those made me tremble. But I wasn't sure if I had it in me to beat the 16 challenge maps that Arkham requires you to beat for both 100% completion on your save file, as well as for unlocking 6 different trophies. These trophies are soul-crushing. Multiplying the 8 combat maps by the 3 combat medals, we get 24 potential bat medals for Batman to collect. Most of these combat trials are not difficult to survive. Rather, they ask the player to play in such a way that maintains survival while prioritizing the highest amount of points possible. The key to getting a high score is to get your combo high. The number of your max combo is multiplied by whatever point value of the move you just used. The move which grants the largest point bonus is the ground takedown, which Batman can perform on stunned enemies which have dropped down to the ground. It also so happens that this is also the riskiest move, as there's no way to cancel out of this animation once you've executed it, leaving Batman wide open for attack and destroying your combo, therefore dampening your points. This means that you either require Batman-like skill, or you're required to get an incredibly lucky run. As far as the combat challenges go, I didn't find most of them all that challenging. Shock and Awe was perhaps the first major roadblock, and required about 10 tries of trial and error, but every other regular combat trial was pretty easy, all things considered. As I was working my way through the combat maps, as I was doing the rumble in the jungle, and practicing my variation combo, I managed to earn my 2nd most feared trophy in this entire platinum run, Free Flow Perfection, earned by performing all 9 of Batman moves in one combo, and finishing the fight without damage. Oh, guys, I can't believe we did that. Unfortunately, there are also extreme versions of all of the combat maps, and I got stuck on 3 out of the 4 of these extreme combat challenges. The ones which challenged me the most were Shock and Awe Extreme, Sewer Bat Extreme, and Rumble in the Jungle Extreme. Before I decided to take these combat maps on, I chose to do some of the second category of challenge maps, namely the Predator challenges. The Predator challenges consist of 8 maps which reflect stealth sections from the main game. Each of these stealth sections also have 3 medals that you can earn. These medals are not earned by points, but rather by stealth challenges. Tasks such as beating a thug with a silent takedown, or killing 3 different guards with 3 different exploding walls, for example. I found these tasks to be far easier than the combat trials. These were more like puzzles that you had to solve utilizing the environment to your benefit. One catch about these stages is that all 3 medals must be earned in the same battle. You cannot simply get 2 badges, then come back and get the one that you missed at a later time. In other words, in order to get 3 badges, you must perfect each stealth stage and execute it flawlessly. Again, this is not that hard. People online have brilliantly easy methods for getting almost every single one of these badges. The only trial and error part of these maps is perfecting the strategies which have been put forward. Of course, you could come up with your own solutions, but I'm a pleb.
Let them eat cake.
So instead, I cheated, and instead watched speedrunners do these maps to get good times. Unfortunately, it was at this time in the stream that I had to head out to work, so I put a pause on my progress in the combat challenges that I had not achieved, and went off to start my shift. Still, while I was working, my brain would not stop thinking about those final 12 medals. I just had to get them. I continued to bash my head against the combat challenge wall for about 2 hours, until I finally decided to log back into our file and start clearing out some more Riddler challenges to unlock some trophies, as well as the final challenge maps. The collectibles in this game are spread across the entirety of the 9 maps from Arkham Asylum. Finding them can be a laborious challenge if you don't have some inkling as to where they are. Rocksteady understood this, and also understood that Riddler is a cocky little shite who would publish a complete archive of his riddles just because he believed that, even with hints and breadcrumbs, Batman could never compete with his refined intellect.
The gentleman's poise.
His ego strikes me as similar to a serial killer who lays out a trail of breadcrumbs only to be caught by their ego and vanity.
Fucking Notley.
All you need to do is to locate the 9 secret maps hidden throughout the game, and then every Riddler challenge will appear on the map as floating question marks in the general vicinity of the challenge. This makes the task of collecting all of the Riddler trophies far easier and far more enjoyable. I loved the feeling of being stuck on a riddle, but knowing where it was. It actually allowed me to think and focus and act instead of blindly searching everything in the whole game like I was when I first started playing. It wasn't too long until the Riddler trophies began to pile up. Content with my collection of Riddler collectibles, I decided that it was finally time to go to the penitentiary and continue on to the final boss of Arkham Asylum, the deranged clown himself, Joker. Before we can get to the trickster himself, we first need to clear out the thugs guarding the way to the visitor center. 4 thugs await outside of the penitentiary, now bearing a door with a pretty rad rendition of Joker's face painted on it. The thugs carry party hats and signs welcoming Batman to Joker's party, thrown only for him. When we enter into the hallway towards the visitor center, we see 16 thugs waiting, lined up 8 on one side and 8 on the other. I ended up beating all 20 thugs on hard mode first, earning me the trophy Party Pooper. After knocking out a whole legion of thugs, we proceed into the visitor center and are met with the forced first-person angle once more. Again, Joker sits in a chair at the end of a room with his head in a TV. As it turns out, that TV is a bomb, blowing a hole in the window that we can go through, but leaving Batman disoriented. Joker throws 2 titans at us when we proceed after him. Like that will actually pose a meaningful threat at this point. After demolishing the titans, Joker decides that he needs more titans, and so he launches the titan compound at Gordon. Batman, being the hero that he always is, jumps in front of the bullet, receiving the titan compound in Gordon's place. Unamused by this,
Joker points the gun at his chin and injects himself with a Titan compound, transforming him into a terrifying Titan version of himself. Joker is going full-on one-winged angel on us. Unfortunately, it will do Joker little good. Joker is perhaps one of the simplest final bosses that I've ever played through in any game ever. Joker will swing at you haphazardly 2 to 3 times before getting annoyed and tired and sending his thugs in after us. After we defeat the same thugs we've been fighting since the beginning of the game, he turns around to put on a show for Jack Ryder's news helicopters flying around the platform. As he's showboating and shouting at the helicopters, we need to utilize our Batclaw in order to pull Joker down and punch him in the face while he's down. Repeat this 3 times and you'll beat the game. Because I beat this game on hard mode first, I received 3 trophies when I beat Joker. Big Bang, Bigger Bang, and Biggest Bang for completing the game on hard mode. The ending plays out, and one floating crate of Titan implies that Batman's story is not quite finished yet. But we aren't worried about the Arkham sequels quite yet. Oh, there's still some Titan material left. After beating the game, I'd earned a good 75% of the trophies in this game. I had also cleared out many of the Riddler trophies throughout the island. As I continued to pursue after the last couple that I needed, I found one riddle in Arkham North, and in Arkham Graveyard, I got this trophy. While I was in Arkham East and knocking off Riddler challenges, I thought I might swing by the clock tower to grab one more obscure trophy, awarded for flying over 100 meters continuously. Having completed 75% of the challenge maps, we went back to the main game so that we could collect the rest of the Enigma trophies waiting on Arkham Island. This evening was super chill. I had managed to unlock all 240 Riddler trophies, earning me the trophies Mental Athlete, Riddler Resolver, and finally, Crack the Enigma. After all of that work and the satisfaction that I felt, I noticed something. Something not so gratifying. Though I had completed 240 Riddler trophies and challenges, my Amadeus Chronicles had still one blank spot. Somehow, I had missed an Amadeus Chronicle somewhere. In total, when you look at the Amadeus Chronicles screen, you can see that there are 24 stones. However, when I went through my collection, I noticed that I only had 23. I was puzzled. What could have happened? After some brief research, I learned that there was one more chronicle, etched not in stone, but onto a floor. Etched upon the floor of the security control room tower in the penitentiary. Scrawled in ink are the words Batman, like a plea from beyond the grave, or...
My name is Quincy Sharp, the spirit of Amadeus Arkham.
Maybe not.
You have done well.
After I unlocked the world's greatest detective, I shut down the stream, and I went back to sleep. On June 22nd, not too long after my first stream, I awoke again and began pounding the combat trials again and again and again. I didn't stream this, but I did record my victory. It was on this day that I faced up against my 3 greatest adversaries. The first of these 3 was Sewer Bat Extreme. I dedicated about 2 to 3 hours of stream time purely to this bloody fight, and got it on the morning of June 22nd. My strategy was really just rack up variation bonuses when possible, and perform as many ground pounds as possible while maintaining my score and combo as best I can. Finally, after a lucky round, I was able to move on to the stage that I most dreaded, and yet the one that I had the most sheer amount of luck on. Shock and Awe Extreme. This fight is infamous among trophy hunters in Arkham Asylum, because this fight pits enemies against you in a multi-tiered stage. Each round is given a time limit, which will automatically set off the electric panels when the time runs out, killing not only the guards, but Batman instantaneously. Pair this with the awkward enemy placement and the huge volumes of enemies in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and you're looking at an unreasonable challenge. In fact, I would say this is the most loathed challenge in Arkham Asylum by the general public. Yet, by trying to send as many henchmen off the edge as possible, and making liberal use of my takedown, I found success finally. Though, it was time. Having completed Sewer Bat Extreme and having conquered Shock and Awe Extreme, it was time to face up to the most challenging challenge I faced in this game. Rumble in the Jungle Extreme. This fight has a Titan, which can make our time easier and harder simultaneously. We can make it easier because we can utilize the Titan to rack up a huge multiplier, and then use that multiplier to crank out enormous point values. Yet, he can also wipe out your combos pretty darn quick as well if you're not careful. With that challenge in the bag, we earn free flow gold. All that was left in the game was some small miscellaneous trophies and finishing the one Predator trial that I had left. Knowing that it couldn't be any harder than what I had already endured, I picked up my cowl and became the knight. My first miscellaneous trophy was obtained by beating a free flow challenge without getting hit. I decided to make it easy on myself. I go back to the first intensive treatment map and got this trophy after 2 or so tries. After that, I went back to the challenge map, Record Breaker, in order to earn the trophy for beating every henchman on the map with a silent takedown. This was relatively simple. I simply had to be patient, and this one was in the bag. Finally, I needed to catch a Batarang, earning me the trophy Catch. Now, this can only be done with the remote Batarang. Simply go into an open area and aim the Batarang at Batman, and boom, you get the trophy. Finally, I entered into my final challenge, Invisible Predator. This one was a bit challenging, however. First, I needed to spray some gel and have it be triggered by proximity. This is an upgrade that you can buy for the Batsuit in the Wayne Tech menu. Immediately, I bolted down the stairs and laid a trap for my unsuspecting foe. Then, I ran to the left and hid behind a wall. The second task is to blow up 3 henchmen with one wall. The blast from the other thug had lured 3 people to come look, who met their maker. Finally, I needed to jump out of a grate and take down a henchman silently. What this means is that you need to sneak up on someone who is right by a vent and perform a silent takedown. I feel like the game could have worded that challenge a little bit better. Anyways, I sneak up on a guard, take him down, and conquer my final challenge, earning us our final 3 trophies.
I've got much bigger plans for you. Much bigger plans for you. Don't get too cocky, Batman! I'll get you next time.
After we earn our final 3 trophies, we unlock the final trophy, perfectly named Platinum Trophy. There it is, guys. The Platinum Trophy. Man, I can't believe I did this. This Platinum Trophy was so bloody daunting. When I started, I had no idea if I had it in me to overcome these combat challenges. But as I got used to the combat, as I got used to the gadgets, something cool happened in this game. I slowly got to become Batman. And for proof of this, I can show you guys absolute proof that this game transformed me from a baby boy, scared and afraid, to the Bat. After I got this Platinum Trophy, I decided to get the Platinum Trophy on my PlayStation account, which I had just linked to my main streaming channel. To do this, I would have to play through the entirety of the game again and collect all 48 trophies. Well, this was daunting. It wasn't exactly easy getting my first Platinum Trophy. However, this challenge could not overcome me. This game had built something into me so powerful that it could not be stripped away. And as a result, I was able to get my Platinum Trophy from 0 trophies to 48 trophies one more time within 3 days. On June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, I was able to beat the entirety of the game on hard mode and all the challenge maps, as well as getting all the Riddler trophies. That's what this game is. This game is a beautiful ode to Batman that asks you to put yourself in the shoes of Bruce Wayne, to become the Caped Crusader, and to watch over Arkham City, because you are the Batman. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave any feedback down in the comments.